So I was trying to say was we'll cold questions off to the end. If you guys want questions, for sure, so I don't have to scroll through all the chat and try to find questions. If you could please Twitter at QTubers.com for any questions. Somebody will forward them to me so we can get them at the end of the segment. But I'll pass it back off to Lemmy because you guys didn't hear me the first time, and he can explain what he does at IndieStone and what he does with Project Zomboid.
This is doing nothing for my nerves, guys. Yeah, I'm Lemmy. I'm one of the developers of Project Zomboid. Yeah, I'm English and I'm a little bit drunk because I'm a bit nervous. So yeah, Project Zomboid is basically uh, a zombie apocalypse survival sim. It's kind of modelled after a cross between Dwarf Fortress and The Sims, where we've got where basically the focus of the game is it's not so much about the zombies outside your door, it's more about the people and how they interact and how they cope with the stress of the zombie apocalypse. And it's basically modelled after films like the Romero films and all of the classic zombie apocalypse films that focus on that element over more modern games like Left 4 Dead, where it's more action based. You know, it's not so much about the action, the killing zombies, as it is about the surviving and keeping sane and coping with the 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 collapse of the world around you, sort of thing.
So we got our basic zombie apocalypse scenario with your classic slow, stupid zombies and just trying to survive basically. Um, So with Project Zomboid, actually, I keep up to date with most of your guys' Twitter posts and all your informations. I'm not sure how many of the viewers that are actively watching actually keep up with all the information for Project Zomboid, but can you just go into a little bit about how Project Zomboid got to where it was, some of the turmoils and stuff like that? Because with what I've been reading, it is a very interesting story, and I think that you guys here as viewers would like to know, how much it actually takes to put into a game sometimes. It's not just dumping a ton of money and just saying, here, this is for you guys, make a game for us. There is turmoil and problems and your everyday issues that we run into. So
Yeah.
Flemmy can tell us that.
Well, basically, I mean, we all the majority of the development team come from a commercial background where we were working within large teams, well, arts like some small teams, but working on games for publishers and things like this. And we spent about 10 years doing this, and we got sick of it, so we went indie. And this was really technically our first game that we'd done as an indie developer. And to be honest, I mean, we know how to make games, but we don't really know how to do the rest of it, and we've kind of winged this as we've gone on a bit. So it came to the point where we were just completely broke, and we needed to announce that we were doing something. So we announced Project Zomboid with the name Project Zomboid, which was just our off the cuff thing to call it at the time, and put a donate button, and it's sort of all kicked off from there. But what we didn't do is read PayPal and Google Checkout's terms and conditions, which strongly don't like things like the word donation for certain tax reasons, I suppose. But anyway, the upshot of it is that we end up getting our accounts limited rather quickly and our funds being held onto, which obviously was quite stressful at the time. And basically that happened with PayPal, so we switched to Google Checkout, and within about a month the same thing happened on Google Checkout. And basically, yeah, so that led to a lot of stress, and obviously everyone was rather suspicious at the time that we were some sort of scam artists trying to pull a fast one, because at this stage the game still hadn't been released. So I think, but yeah, eventually we got that resolved, and then the car outside our flat blew up. Basically, we had a bit of a bomb scare where a car exploded outside our flat, and I can't there's too many to recall now. But yeah, basically, how we like to look at it is we've got quite a entertaining development story to tell people, and one one big thing for us is we want to have complete transparency about how, because it's our first experience as indie developers, and instead of, because we've been in the commercial background and because the commercial thing and the corporate behind a wall of silence kind of thing is just what we're railing against. We want to just be as open as possible with the community and basically say, this is how it's going on. We've fucked up. Can I say that?
Yes.
We screwed up. Yeah. Um, or we're a bit depressed at the moment because this has happened. You know, instead of having the face of a indie developers trying to be all professional and corporate, and we think, I mean, some people don't like it, but I think a lot of people appreciate the honesty, and yeah, so basically, we like to think that one day people will be able to look over our blog and think, right, these are the things to avoid, these are the things to do, if you know what I mean.
Right, I understand.
So
Yeah, it makes for a real point where, to point out some things. I mean, these are real people, and they're really trying to emphasize the fact that they're just a bunch of real guys that want to put out a real project to you or product to you, and not actually have a corporate backer that's just throwing out money and advertising for them. They want to put out something that we as consumers actually want. It's not just something that a bunch of people on a board are sitting around saying, you know what, this is what I think we should make. No, this is actually what you guys want. That's why I strongly go down and go to their site, and support this game if you like it and try it. There's not too many zombie apocalypse games out there that are actually worth a crap, truthfully, like this. So I'll go into the next question, which does go into the George A. Romero thing. Or if you want to say something before then.
no, I'm fine. I'm all for George Romero.
All right. Well, just to keep in point, you made point of it that you wanted to keep the zombies. I mean, it's a George A. Romero style thing, and anybody that is a huge zombie fan, and I probably have the chat explode here with a zombie argument, but I take preference to George A. Romero zombies. They're dumb, slow, stupid. It's a great thing for an apocalypse type scenario, and truthfully, they had a conversation. If you guys read any of the books that have been published lately, the zombies are like this massive apocalypse situation where you can put it in any scenario. They could be lawyers and God knows what else. But what made you guys pick the fact that you guys wanted to use these zombies instead of going in another direction like I've seen some of the other games that are using mutated creatures or, these fast-running zombies, or they have some kind of story behind it?
Yeah, well, we're complete purists when it comes to zombie films, and I mean a good reference point now is Max Brooks with the Zombie Survival Guide and World War Z. There's certain rules established in zombie law that in a lot of people's minds cannot be broken, and because of sort of the fast-paced, for example, I mean, Left 4 Dead is a fantastic game as like an action multiplayer action game, but what they aren't is traditional zombies, and it's everything that zombies stand for is, well, first of all, as you say, they have to be slow and shambling, and it's kind of the affront to sort of human sort of dignity where these people are transformed into these shambling, horrible corpses. And the other thing is, it's not so much about the zombies that are on the outside. It's the people on the inside trying to cope with what's going on around them, and that's where the real drama lies. And obviously, if you have a first-person shooter and you've got a machine gun, you're going to be able to dispatch zombies pretty fast. It's yeah, but in a real situation where you haven't got a arsenal at your disposal, it's one or two zombies are going to be a threat to you. So, and it's having that outside your doors, and it's the conflicts between people, and it's the way society breaks down, and the moral compasses of people go askew, and these are the interesting thing about zombie films, and that's what due to the way the commercial industry is, it's not really the way commercial games tend to explore in zombie games, and that's what we wanted to explore.
Recap what he just said for anybody who just capped in. We were talking about the style of the game was basically we're keeping it to a pure aspect of it. Your traditional George A. Romero style zombies, with so much zombie lore out there, they wanted to keep it to that sense of, these zombies are basically there. I mean, it sort of leads into my next question. We know, if you've played the game at all, you know that the zombies are there as a threat. They're not the absolute threat because there's so many other factors in the game that you're involved into that are involved in the game, such as like right now I'm playing the game and I'm actually sleepy, so it actually affects me as a player, that it's reducing my awareness, and if I go further on it's going to reduce other problems. There's hunger, there's some other things that are going to be implemented, but the NPCs that are in the game, there's one currently in the game. How are they actually going to affect into the game beyond the fact of just having zombies in here and two people?
Well, the NPCs are pretty much 10 times important to where we want to go than the zombies are, because in an actual game you'd probably be interacting with the NPCs a lot more frequently than you would be with the zombies. It's you finding hostile groups of survivors who, they're hoarding supplies and they're raiding other survivors and stealing the supplies. Or you have your own gang of people. You have a doctor and a chef, and you've got these people that you need, but then the chef doesn't get on with the doctor, and they both start a bit of feud, and you've got to sort of deal with that. And you've got the clumsy kid who keeps leaving doors open and making noise, and how would you deal with him? Do you sort of give him a good talking to and then just cope with him, or do you tell everyone you're taking him out to get some supplies and shoot him in the head and come back and claim that zombies got him? It's like, with a completely blank moral compass, you could decide how you play the game and explore what happens to society after an apocalypse happens. And you will get people doing really dark, evil things just to survive, or you'll get people who try and be noble and possibly die over trying to be noble. And the fact that there's no quick save, quick load, means that you've got to live with the consequences of what you do. And it's kind of what would an important aspect. I mean, ironically, this inspiration comes from a more modern zombie-ish film, which is 28 Weeks Later. And in the start of the film, well, it's not really a spoiler, I guess, because it's the start of the film, but Robert Carlyle's character basically abandons his wife and runs off, and the viewer is sort of encouraged to think, what an evil person doing such a thing. But all he was is a coward. He wasn't evil, he was just a coward. And if you'd been playing the game for 5 hours and you had that choice, would you sacrifice 5 hours of gameplay to save your wife, or would you run and leave her for dead? And we want to encourage people to have these massive dilemmas about how they play the game.
It's sort of what I did at the beginning of this game, actually, was to smother my wife with the pillow and go on with my life.
Yeah.
So it sort of brings in the fact that, I mean, if you wanted to look at it this way, the game is a direct version of a scenario that we could play out for possibilities that could be played in real life, because we're bringing in a lot of real life situations into it, and it's not basing it off of a movie or somebody's book that's written in a fantasy aspect. This is, if we actually had a zombie apocalypse that occurred on life, this could be a physical simulation of the decisions that you can run across and the choices that you'd have to make in real life, but basically portrayed in the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's conceptually, obviously, we're taking massive. I mean, we've got an isometric viewpoint and simplistic controls and things like that. But the important thing is the sort of actual decisions you're making is the simulation part. We might take a few liberties for the sake of gameplay and stuff, but we want the actual experience to feel like you're making these kind of decisions, and all the chats that pretty like anyone who's a fan of zombie films has had discussions after a few drinks with their friends about how they would survive and what they would do in an actual zombie apocalypse, and we want them to be able to play out those plans in a game. And basically, what we really want is people to read the Zombie Survival Guide by Max Brooks, and that guide effectively be a help them survive in the game. Do you know what I mean?
That's really interesting. So anybody hasn't bothered to go out and, not to plug Max Brooks, but go get the Zombie Survival Guide and give it a read. The next.
Yeah. Well, it's sorry.
Oh God, what were you saying about it? Because I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, it's an awesome book. There's World War Z as well, and I mean them two and the Romero films are our biggest non-game influences, I guess.
So the next thing is we'll give them a little bit of a teaser here for what's up and coming. I know the next Focus update is not really going to be a content update. You guys have some stuff that's going on. Not to give a date, and so you guys don't go spam their forums and decide, we want this content now because they said it. For future, and we're not giving a date here, so I'm not confirming anything right now, but what are we looking forward to in the next physical content update? Like what changes are into the games, what's being slightly added without giving too much away, so they can wait and salivate over it.
Well, I mean the big things, I guess, character customization. So basically, you can choose a profession, and that profession will give you certain benefits and like certain traits that allow you to have specific skills when you go into the world. And then you can, on top of that, you can pick different traits in like a point system. So you could, for example, make yourself extra strong so you can carry more, but that'll cost points. So to do that, you have to take on a negative trait. So you might make yourself claustrophobic, which means you get really stressed out if you're indoors, which and then basically the more positive traits you pick, the more negative traits you have to pick. And then once you get into the game, you get curtains, which sounds like a ridiculous thing to say as a feature, but when you're dealing with a zombie apocalypse, currently in the game, if you want to block vision from outside your safe house, you have to board up the doors and windows. But now there'll be curtains on the windows that you can pull shut, and suddenly you're slightly more safe. On the flip side, we've got burglar alarms, so you might be safer because of curtains, but you try and break into the wrong house, and suddenly you've got the entire map of zombies swarming upon you. And then another huge thing is the modding capabilities, and because of the delay we've had, we've brought modding up in our schedule. So basically, we're providing practically 100% modding support for basically what's in the game now with Kate and Bald Spot and with the Raider coming in. All of that is now driven by the script that people will be able to make their own stories, and the stories will appear in a list, so they can make their own. Someone could make a prison and have a guy start in the prison cell and have to escape the prison. And do you know what I mean? You can make your own stories in the game. So we're hoping that'll, while we're developing the game and adding more features, we're hoping that'll provide a lot more gameplay for people in the short term. So they're the big thing. I mean, there's quite a lot of other stuff, but yeah, I've probably forgot something important, but they're the things that spring to mind.
No, it was just a teaser for you, so you guys heard it here. What's up and coming and the fun stuff. But speaking of, with the mod packs and everything, that brings, great transition, because I just walked into a new area. For anybody who doesn't realize it has played the game, this is not the basic map. This is a map that if you do guys go on the forums and check out the game, there is a mod section, and there are a ton of people out there that have created some very wonderful maps already. I pulled one of these maps just for the sake of having it and a little bit of extra area to run around in. But what made you guys actually choose to go in the modding aspect of it to allow people to do their own map editing and eventually script editing, which will be in the future? Was it the fact of the content being very limited right now that decided, or was that a thought from the very beginning to be able to allow people to do that?
Well, we always intended to allow modding, and because like me and Big in particular come from a modding background, like even while being in the games industry, we we modded Sims and Civilization, and we've been quite into the modding thing, so it was always going to be a focus. But we kind of figured this would come a year or two down the line, and but because of the delay with while we were trying to get things set up with Zura and stuff like that, we thought we need to offer something cool for the next update to sort of make up for the wait, and the modding was a way that we could provide infinitely more content that we could possibly do in that time. So it seemed like the correct choice. I should also point out, I forgot to mention that you can also run around now in your underpants, as that's a feature I can't, because we've got the character clothing system in. Yeah, I need to add that in at the end.
So
you can't ignore running around in your underpants.
Right, that'd be the next thing I have to do then.
Yeah.
So you guys.
Yes, it's what we've been doing for weeks. So yeah.
All right, and then
and in the game.
In the. Yeah, I will definitely have to try that now. So when you guys see me stream next time, I'm gonna be running around with Bob in his underpants with a baseball bat, maybe covered in blood, running around like a madman. So we'll see how that goes. I have one more actual question that I've developed, and then we'll jump into some questions off of some Twitter and stuff like that some people have. But because I know you guys had some other games when you originally were trying to raise money for this game. So you were sort of giving away a set game, plus you'd get a lifetime updated version of Project Zomboid. From those games to this one, what made you guys choose the isometric development, though, for this?
Well, it was I mean, it was a combination of things. I think we wanted to get the system specs as low as possible, so that the game could be played by as many people as possible. And as soon as you make the decision to jump to 3D, you automatically exclude a lot of people, unless you go for a Minecraft style cube, which wouldn't cut it for the sort of atmosphere we were going for. So that the 2D decision was made, as simple as that. And then it was a choice between orthographic, which is like the old Japanese RPGs, and isometric. And first of all, isometric had XCOM on its side, which a few of us are quite huge fans of. So that kind of went out on that count. But also, it allows you zombies to essentially get in any window, where if you have orthographic, you've only really got the front and the back window to work with. So there was technical reasons, and the fact that we loved XCOM. We loved XCOM basically.
I mean, that's a prime point, because that actually what drew me into this game when I first saw it is me being an avid XCOM player, and I still play probably monthly, at least drive into the game and try to destroy XCOM, all three versions that came out. It just gives me that feel of playing the same game. Yeah. So, I mean, that was my last question, but we will jump down here into some other questions before I die. Let me eat some food here in the game and find a place to sleep, because I don't think they need to see me dying, but I don't think it's going to happen anyway. We have a question from Cintria, who was here with us before. She just basically asked, with the Project Zomboid, the name itself, is there going to be a change to it, or is that the finalized name you guys are sticking with? I mean, how did that actually come about, that you guys decided we were just going to call it Project Zomboid?
Well, I think basically it was just something that, when we've written a blog post to say that we were doing this game, and first it was Project Secreto, because we didn't announce where it was. And then in the next post, well, it's a zombie game, so we called it Project Zomboid. We didn't expect any real interest from it. We expected a couple of people to reply on the blog and say, "Oh, that sounds like a cool idea," or "That sounds like But we didn't actually expect that much interest. So then suddenly it went crazy, and we started getting reported on news sites, and it was being reported as Project Zomboid, and we were like, "Oh God!" It's basically stuck since then. But in retrospect, thinking about it, it's despite not really fitting the tone of the game, it's grown on us, and we kind of like it as a name. And not only that, but it's kind of the sort of name. When we were looking at things like Minecraft, we were thinking like, you see that on Twitter, and it's quite. What we didn't want to have is something like Dead something, or something of the dead, or we wanted something that sounded original and that stick in your head. And ironically, our work in progress name seems to do that. So we don't have any regrets about it, but it was a complete accident, and it wasn't ever intended to be the proper name, but it is now, basically.
And it sort of fits everything now with the fact that you guys put in modding to sort of, it leaves it that open-ended name too, is how I feel
Well,
is towards the game to, it's a,
well,
good.
yeah, we've kind of adopted now the philosophy that it's a project that, because we've always had a kind of community sort of focus. We want the community to feel involved in the development. So again, it seems a perfect name for it, because it's a project that everyone can get involved in, sort of thing. So yeah, it suits us down to the ground, even though like we're trying to do quite a dark game, so it perhaps doesn't convey that. But in all other respects, we love it. Yeah.
So that jumps in the next questions from Craig out. He's one of our other streamers here on QubeTuber. He actually asks, and I know you're probably not going to be able to give a time frame on this, but maybe a generalized aspect of it. But how long do you plan on developing Project Zomboid? To like a certain state, because you do have the modding in, or is it to a specific? I mean, do you guys have a set timeline?
Well, basically minimum is everything on that feature list. That's Project Zomboid. Anything less than that isn't Project Zomboid that we want to make. So I guess the advantage we have over Minecraft, for example, is that like there's never been the complete Minecraft that people can go, right, that's complete, where we've got a very clear idea where the end goal is. But that's not to say it won't go far beyond the end goal. But basically what we want is everything that's in the bullet points on the too long didn't read page on Project Zomboid, and that's a big map, multiplayer, like all the NPCs and all of the trust issues and this and there's quite a lot of specifics of what we want in the game. And I mean, after that all bets are off, but whatever we did after that point, we'd want to make sure that it was carried on by the community. So we'd likely open source it and give the code away at that point, but we may be greedy and keep hold of it for years to come and do more with it. And we'll have to see. We don't want to make any promises beyond there, but everything that's on the planned feature list is what we consider the game. So
All right,
it's going to be years before we reach there.
No, well, that makes sense. I wouldn't expect you guys to be overnight and have it all done, which would be a miracle. But
Yeah.
they do talk about rumors, and this comes from another streamer of ours, and H2O Dragon, who asks, we've heard tidbits of it, we've heard rumors of it. Is there talks of a co-op mode being implemented into the game eventually?
Very much so. I mean, this is something that's going to come down the line, though, because we don't want to sacrifice the single player game, and for the sake of the multiplayer. Multiplayer is important. It's become more important as the game's gone on, because it's become so clear there's so much support for it. But if we were to try and implement multiplayer now, it would drag out the actual development of the core gameplay so much that I think it would be of detriment, and we need to get the single player solid before we, because multiplayer coding and stuff, it's quite a big undertaking, and so we want to make sure the single player's done. But without a doubt, it's crying for co-op. It's absolutely crying for it. So we're definitely going to go that route. It's just it'll take some time to get there.
Cool. Yeah, that would be an interesting option to see. Once you guys get it implemented, having other people in there to basically help or hinder you in the game, and just add a whole nother element to the game beyond. I mean, there's a lot of element to the single player game, and there's a lot of problems that you can actually run into and occur already. But to add a whole nother human element
Yeah.
in is another multitude of problems. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the single player aspect of it, we'll dive into that a little bit here. Somebody asks if there's going to be consideration for more items. I understand the game, and if you guys are watching me here, there is a robust crafting system. Basically, it's almost like Minecraft, where you combine items to make new items. With that, is there going to be any new items that you guys are considering adding into the game? The question sort of answers itself, yes, because I don't think this is limited here. But what are the ideas for items, preferably, that you guys want to try to add?
Well, I mean, you've got things like Dead Rising, which has I think Dead Rising 2 has like a bit of crafting going on where you're making more effective weapons and stuff like that. But what we'd like to do is things like traps. So basically I guess anything we can possibly think of. I mean, this is the sort of game where when it comes to items, it's very much uh, everything in the kitchen sink. As long as it fits in the game, the more the better. So like um, being able to dig pits outside around your safe house and cover it with things, and to getting a remote controlled car from a toy shop and putting something that makes sound on it and then driving it up the road, and just from obvious and sensible things to slightly more outlandish things. I mean, just crafting on Minecraft. I keep mentioning Minecraft, but it's hard not to. But for example, where they've got things like the redstone wires, and there's all the very intricate things you can do. It'd be nice to get to that level, but perhaps that'd be going a bit far. But certainly being able to construct traps that are a bit more creative, that leave some creativity to the player, or alarm systems and things like that. But then, I mean, there's to putting stuff into your clothing to make it more resistant to getting bit, or and then there's cooking, for example. You'll be able to get ingredients and put them in together to make food, more creative food that will keep the morale of your team up. So there's a ton of stuff. It's hard to pinpoint anything exactly. Just pretty much anything we can think of, and with the modding, anything the community can think of as well.
Right, so basically, if you were the zombie apocalypse MacGyver, you would last forever in this game, for the most part.
Sorry, alright. Yeah.
So, what else we got here? We got a question from Adriani that basically, what first inspired you to start programming? And, well, we talked about how'd you come up with the concept for Project Zomboid, basically, but, yeah, what did actually inspire you to start programming? I know you talked about a little about modding and stuff like that.
Inspired to start programming generally, or this game?
I guess in generally.
Generally. Well, I guess it was growing up and playing games, and I guess it's all I ever wanted to do as a kid. You know, I was playing games and stuff. I was a bit of a nerd, so there was no real other choice for me. I mean, it took me a while to get there because I left school and got a sensible job doing business programming and stuff, and it took me a good 5 or 6 years to jump into games programming, but yeah, I've never regretted it. It's been hard at times, but yeah, it's well worth doing. The indie industry's the thing because when you were growing up, you were seeing these bedroom programmers and stuff, and they're all inspiring. You see Sensible Software and Jeff Minter and all these people that, like, I want to be like them when I grow up. Then you get into the games industry when you get old enough and you find it's become quite a corporate thing. So now we've got the indie industry, which has become what we wanted to get into when we were kids, and that's the most exciting thing. It's now I've finally got where I wanted to be when I was a kid, instead of it's like the 10 years of commercial games, which were a bit depressing, to be honest. So, so yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, right. You're living that dream that every gamer that wants to make a game get to that point of being able
Yeah,
to create your own game, and you have no limits because you don't have a corporation backing you, and you're doing your own thing. And it's great that the
yeah,
industry is booming with indie games right now. Gives us a lot of games that we as people
yeah.
want.
Well, the beautiful thing is that back in the day, it was people making games in assembler and stuff like now, but now it's getting to the point where this sort of dream of making games is open to more and more people. It's not it's not just the programmers and the artists, and it's the gaps widening and what's possible for everyone to do, and it's sort of really empowering for indie developers now. I think that the and the power's starting to shift from the commercial industry into the indie industry, and yeah, it's quite an exciting time, really.
All right, so we got here. Okay, that makes more sense. Somebody from Twitter actually asks, when the game actually started to get a lot more popular and the piracy started, what was your initial reactions to that whole issue?
Well, I mean, to be honest, we've never had an issue at all with. I mean, we had a bit of an issue that the test version got leaked before the game was out. That was a bit annoying, but we've never had any issue with the torrents and things like that. We'd obviously prefer people bought the game, but we weren't ever going to declare war on piracy or stick DRM in the game, or basically complain about it, because we kind of appreciate that it may lose you a few sales, but then may gain you a few sales from word of mouth and general, So it's just something we've always thought. Well, we can understand the reasons some people do it, and we'd rather, we'll just look away, the other way and ignore it, and that's been our philosophy since day one. But obviously, the problem was the version in particular was sucking the version off our own servers, and we had a cloud system which charges us per download. So basically, it was literally costing us money every time someone downloaded the game with it, and that we couldn't deal with, So we had to remove it. But the actual torrents that were going around at the time, we just looked the other way. We just we were more we were more concerned with who was buying the game, and we were more chuffed that everyone was obviously wanting to play the game, that they were going to the trouble of pirating it. Yeah.
Right, basically, so you guys were in the line of I don't want to say it's okay, but you guys were okay with the torrent of a
No.
single version of a game going out, but not the updates, because, I mean, I understand it's going to give you guys a little bit more. If they like the game when it actually comes out, they're going to purchase the game later for
Yeah.
updates, basically.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we're not saying please pirate our game by any means. So obviously, we'd vastly prefer people to buy it, but the point is that people are going to pirate it, and we accept that, and we're not going to uh, demonize them and spit venom at them. We're kind of sympathetic to it. You know what I mean? It's not it's not worth us railing against. It's just a bit, we can understand why some developers perhaps do, but we're too lethargic about it. We were just pleased with how everything was going, and that was just happening in the background, And so it's yeah, it's not that we condone it per se, but we kind of understand why it
Right.
happens.
Yeah, I know the movie
Yeah,
industry is one of those people that you want to pick up a big dog that's actually trying to fight it, and they've been spending millions and millions of dollars. It's sort of, I don't say that you guys should go out and pirate stuff either. I always support people when if you like something, please go out and buy it. Doesn't matter if it's a game or a movie or music. Support your artists and your developers. Otherwise, they're not going to make any money. They're not going to be able to keep doing the things you do. But
yeah.
these companies spent
But
millions of
for
dollars.
example,
Yeah.
sorry.
No
But
good.
but for example, for a long time we couldn't people who had PayPal couldn't buy the game because we didn't have PayPal option. So there was literally a whole chunk of people who could not play the game before the demo was released. And in that case, although we'd never say out publicly, we'd perfectly have condoned people pirating the game purely because, well, we'd rather you played it than didn't play it. It's not. Yeah, I don't wanna sound. Uh, yeah, there's a lot of genuinely reasonable reasons why people would pirate a game that we're not going to sort of rail against.
All right. We're gonna do a. Let me pause the game here so I don't end up getting killed. But I'm gonna do a quick game giveaway. So let me grab a code here, and I'm gonna throw one in chat real quick. So you guys need to get ready, and if you're all ready for a game giveaway, I'm just gonna randomly give one out just to break some stuff up here. There's another one. Oh look, free game. Anybody? Anybody? Um, So moving on, as I feed the chat with more stuff, they're yelling at me to get more food too. We got here. Okay, here's the goofy question from us at QTubers. Here is, will you add a QTuber streamers class, and if so, can we have a QTubers Paradise map? Which I told them we can make our own map, but the other half of the question goes, ask is what they're actually trying to get at is going to be like a movie producer, director, radio DJ type class, and have it basically dedicated to live streamers and streamers alike, that put a lot into what they do for gaming. Somebody was asking. Still here?
Yeah, sorry, funny you should say that, but we've already committed to having radio DJs in the game. So, I mean, obviously, in the tutorial you've got the bit of radio dialogue, and that's the actual radio broadcast of things is quite a big part of the game, and there's going to be numerous radio stations that you can check up on, and so I don't suppose it's quite a far cry away from having like an internet radio station in there. So yeah, perhaps why not? And so I mean certainly it'll be open to modding, so yeah, in that case definitely. But yeah, we're certainly going heavily down the radio-y kind of route in terms of having updates and stuff. I don't know about a map though. Obviously, we're going to be focusing on having places like we need them all in there before a QTubers map.
Right. No, I understand. I said I can make a map ourselves, so it's not like we don't have the capability. So, but at least the two people that are asking, see, now you guys are gonna be happy, and you can have your own little radio director producer class that you guys wanted. We've got 3 more questions here. Couple minutes left. I think if we can go over, we're gonna go over because the next streamer is possibly not gonna be ready. If you want to stick around and just we'll do some general stuff, maybe we'll extend it out. But the next question is probably one of my favorite. Just to give you a little background about myself, and some other people here on the site actually know about it. I'm a huge zombie nut, and it's not just the fact that I go around reading books or anything like that. I'm talking to the point where I have a apocalypse plan. I have a go bag. I have all the equipment you can possibly need to go run out in the wilderness and go live for a month at a time if you know how to live off the land. But somebody does ask, what's your zombie plan? And when the zombie apocalypse eventually arrives, are you ready for it?
Right. Well, I guess it depends on where I am when it breaks out. But if I the plan I've come up with that's stuck in my head, that is, if I'm in some terrace houses where it's like a street of houses, is to basically go up into the loft and break through the entire street. So basically, you've got a safe place where you can go up and down the entire street of houses, and then you can go down the loft hatch and hunt for food and stuff, and that gives you this entire space where it's basically a safe zone. Uh, if if you're in an apartment, I guess keep the door locked, but where do you get food from? So I don't know, but I know Nick once suggested going to Asda with like a supermarket, but I, I'm not sure that'd work because everyone in the entire town would have exactly the same idea, so you just end up with tons of people fighting you for the food. So I guess it's get enough food to survive and find somewhere high up where you can last it out.
That's not a
Stay away
bad.
from the cities.
Yeah, not a bad plan. I mean, I'm almost in the same boat as you guys. Just to give everybody on the thing, just to give you an idea of, you're thinking along the lines of a supermarket. Not to go off the interview, but to get the zombie apocalypse plan. Don't think so much supermarket. Think beyond supermarket to give you your food thing. Actual distributors, warehouses, stuff like that. So if you can locate one of them, you'll be in a good
Yeah,
position because then you have where
yeah,
the
that's
source
good.
is coming from. But we'll move on beyond that. If you guys want to have a zombie apocalypse conversation, you guys can find me on here all the time, and I'd love
Yeah,
to
I'm
have
just,
them.
I'm just curious. Yeah, I'm just curious how many other survivors will think the same thing. That's the thing. I think the idea is to outthink other survivors as opposed to outthink the zombies. Uh, you need to get somewhere where there isn't other survivors that are going to screw your day up.
Right?
If you
Yeah,
know what I mean.
and
And
that's
that's
what.
I guess that's yeah. So maybe go to the distributors the thing then, because most people would think supermarket. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
because a lot of people
yeah, that
don't
makes
realize
sense actually. Now I
is
think.
actually I worked for
Well,
a company that does supermarket stuff, and I worked at one of their warehouses.
yeah.
Most of the stuff in there is dry goods, canned goods. So you have like this unlimited supply,
Right.
and being a warehouse, and if you go to any normal warehouse, um, you go through, it's a very secure environment for the most part. You have, if you're going to have loading docks, the doors, they're pretty stable. But most of the other things, they're not really, they're trying to keep people in because you want to try to keep people from stealing stuff. Or worst case scenario, being located in the United States, we do have a problem with terrorism. One of the main emphasis is that
Right.
people were worried about going into these places and trying to contaminate food sources as a terrorist action. So they've sort of, over the last couple of years since 9/11 and all the bombings and the terrorist actions, beefed up the security on these places. So, they've implemented security doors and turnstiles and all kinds of other crazy stuff that
Right.
sort of adds to the point of having it a great place to sort of hold up in a zombie apocalypse.
Are you absolutely sure that they aren't preparing them for a zombie apocalypse?
I'm not sure yet. I still have to dig a little bit into
Yeah.
that.
Well. Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to steal that part of your plan. To be honest, that's quite good.
Oh, you're more than
But yeah,
welcome to,
I'll
if you can.
I'd head. I, I'll
But
t- I'll take the UK ones. You take the American ones.
yeah, that'll work. We'll link up somewhere in between after we get rid of all the bad people and try to start over. Um, oh god, my game is deciding to auto run. It's a nice little function there. Let's hold that button down. Okay, the next thing is going to be, I'm going to add a part to it. I'm not sure if I'm going to say this right, but I guess it's Deshura, which I guess is in the UK, is like a gaming distribution thing, and I
Yeah.
guess on our side would be Steam.
Yeah.
What is your relationship with them right now, if you want to give that out, and on how, because I know they linked on the forum post, somebody actually linked that the game was going to be put into Steam. Somebody found some kind of weird thing within the
Yeah.
Steam client and showed that the game was actually put into the Steam client, at least for distribution, or something along those lines. But what's that relationship right now with those two companies?
Well, with Zazura, basically, uh, they offered for us to be on the service, which was fantastic. Not only that, but they've since then. I'm not sure whether they were doing this anyway or whether because I know it's been used on several other games, but they've developed a alpha donationware system for it. Like, so basically, it means that the games on it, not only will you be able to effectively donate money, but you will also be able to allow them to send the developers of the game your details, so your email address, and so we'll be on Desura. But the beauty of it is, because they allow that, people will be able to click a button in Desura and pipe their details to us, who can then create an account on our servers, which means that they'll be able to play the game standalone, but also means that when we get on Steam, they'll be able to get a redeem code to go on Steam. So basically, and because Desura accept PayPal, which is the one thing we're missing at the moment, it'll mean that even if you're on a platform that Desura doesn't currently support, you'll be able to pay for the game with PayPal and then play it outside Desura. And yeah, and so basically, Desura have been wonderfully nice in, you know, helping us set all this up. It's you know, that's why, I mean, we were waiting for them to do this stuff, but it you know, it was fantastically, amazingly brilliant of them to do it, you know. And with Steam, it's the same thing. I mean, everyone's just shown us a massive amount of support, and Steam have basically given us everything that comes with Steam, like being on the library, being able to use the servers, being able to auto update, and it'll only be via Steam redeem codes. We won't be on the library, the store yet. That may or may not come later, but they're allowing us to piggyback on the servers at no cost to us, which is massively nice for such a big corporation, isn't it? Just makes us love Valve all the more. But yeah, and so that's basically where we stand with them. And also, I should mention File Planet, who are allowing us to have the game with the username and password downloadable off their systems, even though it's of zero use to anyone who hasn't already bought the game. Which I don't think is the done thing for File Planet. So all three companies have shown us a massive amount of support, and they should be applauded for it. I think that it's really nice of them.
No, that is a cool thing because you know those guys are going out of their way sort of to get it on, but they give you guys some kind of recognition as well by doing that. And you know, there's some big names there that have a lot of big titles on there, and to bring an indie project in and have it on their site is an awesome thing and an awesome way to distribute
it's great.
a title out. So I mean, what else we got here? We got another. I'm sorry that I didn't say it before, but one of the questions prior was from Welsh Pixie, and so is this one. I don't know if you know who Welsh Pixie is. I believe
yes,
she's a YouTuber, yeah, and all that fun stuff. So she actually asks a question
With a lovely
of
accent.
yes. Actually asks a question for what's your favorite part of game development, and what do you most like working on?
The favourite part of game development is when it's done. Like when you've basically worked on something and you see it out there and people are responding to it. That is the best bit. And game development, there's good bits and there's bad bits, and you know, I won't pretend that it's 9 to 5 happiness and joy, because it can be quite stressful. But on the whole, it's massively rewarding. I wouldn't do anything else. But I guess the thing that interests me most is kind of creating things that are used to create other things. So like the modding aspect for me is quite exciting, because I'm not creating the thing directly, but I'm creating the things that I see what other people come up with, and that excites me to see other people using stuff you've worked on with their own creative input, if you know what I mean. And that's the thing that excites me. Yeah. Yeah. Spent a lot of my career in the games industry as a tools programmer, so I was like making I was making the tools that people, you know, I mean, I did games program as well, but you know, that's kind of where that. But I mean, obviously, the game design side, I've got a lot of love for that. But as a programmer, that's what excites me most, if you know what I mean.
We're running some more questions from Twitter here, and we already partially answered this question with how does IndieStone envision multiplayer for Project Zomboid, so we won't go into that, but he also asks about persistent worlds. I think the single sessions we talked about, and it says something else, but I'm not exactly sure what that means, and that was from Zena on Twitter. I guess the biggest point would be that whole thing, because we already talked about some other stuff, is the persistent worlds. I'm not sure what he means by that, but maybe you are. And
Right. Yeah, I can go. Basically, I mean, it depends if you're talking about multiplayer or single player. Certainly in single player, it's this massive. It's going to eventually be this massive game world, and it's impossible for you to have this entire world running at once. So basically, you've sort of got to come up with a system where you can make the world appear alive, so that when you write over the other side of the city, things are happening at the other side of the city, and that's something we're going to focus on, trying to make it feel as real as possible. If you're talking about on the multiplayer side, it's if it ever happens, it's going to be way down the line. I mean, we're going to look in multiplayer to co-op, maybe 4 to 8 players, and then maybe someday have like 64 player, um, like servers, a bit like Minecraft has servers where people can join and leave. But that, I mean, we can't possibly predict how that's going to go. So we co-ops probably where all we'll commit to with that. But certainly single player, we're going to try for a persistently alive world. So.
all right, the next question from Gaming Panda, Alex Robertson from. I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names. I'm not great with names. From Twitter is asking, will they have any further crafting in Project Zomboid, which we did talk about a little bit more. But I'm wondering if he's asking because he has it listed as sewing, gunsmithing, and carpentry. So I'm guessing if there's like a crafting is going to be specific to certain characters. Maybe we'll stretch the question out a little bit in a different direction. Because we have the class system coming out. So will there be things specific to class systems that they can create possibly that is going to be different from other people or have set skills?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've already decided on a carpentry skill and a cooking skill, and someone who's a good cook's going to be able to craft more complicated recipes and things like that. Similarly, a carpenter who's got a lot of carpentry skills or a builder will be able to ultimately build walls and doors and structures, and so yeah, very much so. We're gonna build a lot of depth into the crafting system in terms of skills and things. So how far? I mean, the way we're doing the game incrementally, you can never tell where it's going to go because it's community driven as well. Our focuses and our priorities will change as we go on. It's just, but that's something we'd definitely like to do. Yeah.
Cool. All right. This goes sort of back, and this is Alex Robertson again. He asks, and this is actually a question I wanted to ask too. I know you guys have the set tutorial system in right now, and with the crafting or the skill system and the different characters, it's going to sort of change. Will there ever be maybe like a first-time playthrough with a set storyline, or like a true storyline, or like a campaign mode that has like this storyline that might possibly build as you further progress into the game?
Right. But yeah, initially that wasn't our plan, but basically because of the tutorial and how the whole Kate and bald spot thing kind of charmed with people, and the choice to use the pillow, or all this, and it seemed to go down so well that we started to think about it more, and we sort of started to go in the direction where we want to have like basically the Adventures of Kate and Bald Spot story, which is basically a story mode for the game, alongside a sandbox mode, which is very much you create your character and you're plonked randomly into the world with a backstory, and you've just got to survive. And the stories thing is the thing that will tie into the modding, where people will be able to develop their own concurrent stories to sit alongside it. But what we want to do is, as we develop new features to the game, say we add trading between NPCs, for example, we then add that to the story as a tutorial for how to do it, and B, so basically the story is used as a development platform for the stuff that's going to go into the sandbox. So the sandbox will benefit from it, but we get this narrative story at the same time for people who prefer a more structured narrative to it.
Cool. Yeah, I was gonna definitely. I know with the character system that was coming in, I was gonna definitely miss Bald Spot and the way the story sort of runs, and you have this like sort of player that you can sort of play as. I know some people don't want to do that and they want to play as their own character, but yeah, I would have liked to see some story in there and at least something you can add, play as like a game instead of it just being a complete open sandbox, but have the option to switch back and forth. That's definitely really cool. I really don't have any more questions from Twitter because they're not updating my page anymore. So I'm gonna do here is we're gonna get Sin back in here. Since our lovely site leader here is back with us.
Hello.
I'm going to give away this last code, so you guys on chat, get ready. We're going to send the last... I don't know what this game's even for. The last 3 games I gave away, I have no clue what they're for, so you guys all get ready here. Here comes another free game hosted to you from QTubers, because we love you guys so much, and you guys come back and keep seeing us, and that's what we do here, is give away free stuff every once in a while and bring out this enjoyable content to all of you guys. I'm going to put it out in 3... 2, 1, free game code right there. Somebody grab it. We putting out another game. So, like I said, we'll. How much time we got? We got a lot of time actually. So.
Yeah, we got a lot of time. Lemmy, at any point, if you'd like to go ahead and go, you're more than welcome. Though the whole slot is freed up. No, the whole slot freed up, but as soon as you're ready to go, we can just carry on playing the game without you. But I have some questions for you. No, I'm not kicking you out. I just want to make sure you have the out in case you're like, I really got to go to the bathroom or something.
It's more when everyone on the chat wants me out. I'm not looking.
Everyone in chat.
They're all scared
of
me.
In chat, do you want Lemmy to stay or do you want Lemmy to go?
No, don't ask that. Don't ask that. No. Right.
Okay, got a question for you. I got a question from Jeffrey and I got one from Cosford, both on Twitter, and they're both similar, so I'm going to merge them together. One is, will you be implementing Mac support? I would love if you guys did that. And the other is, have you considered having a mobile version of the game? So I figured both of those could be answered.
Alright, well first of all, technically we kind of have Mac support already. It's just at the moment it's a bit fiddly because we don't have Macs, so we can't sit there and work out how to get it to run out of the box. But it does work on Mac, it just needs some fiddling from the Mac end, and there is instructions on our forum on how to do it, but none of us have ever had a Mac in our lives. We're gonna get a Mac soon. We've been saying that for a while, but obviously we've had so much on. But it is our intent to make it so Mac, Linux, and PC run out of the box as soon as you download the game. They are. But at the moment, Linux and Mac, they need a little bit of fiddling to get working. Regarding mobile, it's something we'd love to do down the line, but it's that's kind of like when we've got the game more or less there, then we look into it, because all that's going to do is take away development time from the actual PC game, which, well, I say PC, Mac, Linux game, which is what's important to us at the moment. So, but yeah, somewhere down the line, I'm sure it will.
Let me piggyback on that question real quick, though, before you move on. Is it not so much mobile support, but what about iPad or, we have all these ingenious new inventions coming out with the tablet PCs. Are you guys looking to go with, any kind of options there later down the road after development?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether I should mention this at all, actually, but it looks like we've just more or less turned down an offer from quite a major publisher on the basis that it would interfere with the PC development too much, and basically maybe all this stuff happens later down the road, but what's important to us right now is developing this version that people play on these 3 platforms, and every minute, unless we hire staff, which is something we don't want to do because we want to keep costs down, we just want to focus on the actual core versions of it for the foreseeable future, and then we'll look into it in the future, you know. But we'd love it to be on every platform down the line, you know, without a doubt. But yeah, it's all so far off. We can't really say for definite one way or another. So.
All right, awesome. Thank you for answering that question. Let's see, got another one here. Kizzy Cocoa from Twitter. Can you ask if achievements and/or hats will be available in PZ at a later date? I mean, someone has to ask these kind of questions. Smiley face.
Yep. Do you know what? There will be hats, but we won't charge a penny for them. It's fine. No, we've got character customization, all the graphical like different costumes that you can find in wardrobes and things around the map, and you can dress your character up and stuff. But we haven't got hats in yet, just purely because of the work involved in an extra thing on the body that you can customize. But they're fully planned. At some point you'll be able to find hats and put them on, and find a motorcycle helmet, put it on, stop you from getting bit on the neck, stuff like that. Yeah, it's definitely planned. It's just not in there yet.
Oh, we're gonna cover bald spots.
I've talked about hats. I've talked about hats so much I can't remember what the first bit was.
Achievements or hats.
Achievements.
Killing a boss zombie and having something to show for it.
No boss zombies. No, we're not gonna have achievements as such, but we've got some stuff called perks planned, which are like skill upgrades that are related to achievement-like criteria. So, supposing you ran around with your maximum inventory capacity filled up for 2,000 steps, then you might get a perk which has got some funky name that means that you can carry 10% more. So they're going to be in-game specific related achievement kind of things for that game only, but we're not going to have well, unless one day we're lucky enough to be on Steam, then I dare say we will. But yeah, not planned currently achievements per se, but we've got something similar in the game.
Going back on something you said before, there's going to be clothing items that you can acquire that are going to help protect you from injury. I was curious about that when you mentioned.
Well, we've got that in. We've got that in currently, where we're not the protecting bit, but we've got in this update. You'll be able to find another vest or a jumper to wear in a wardrobe, or you'll find a new pair of jeans and stuff like that. So we've got that in already. So it's not that much of a stretch to put different values on them, how easy it is to get a bite through them, or that I'm sure that'll come not too long after that, well, as we start getting more variation in the customization.
Cool.
Alright, there was another question. I don't remember who said it. Oh, Armin, do you want to add something to that?
No, I was saying cool.
Cool. It is cool. This is cool. This whole thing is so cool.
I'd like to say it as well, like, I just, because obviously it's me chatting away, but like, it's obviously the other members of the team, and that obviously aren't talking now and getting all of the attention. But the thing is, we're all a genuine equal part of it, you know, so I don't like stealing all the limelight. There's Captain Big Key who's done a lot of the art of the game. There's IndieStone who's the other coder on the game. But actually, this is all very loose because we've all done, like Captain Big Key's a bit of the code. There's Mashed Potato in Canada, who's the guy done a lot of the art side of things. And there's Will Porter, who's done all the writing for the game. Sorry, I've just spammed you there with that, but yeah, I just wanted to sort of credit where credit's due and stuff.
That's cool because those guys should have joined us for the interview like you did.
Yeah.
I know, they're so lame. Cool.
Well, you didn't invite them, did you? You didn't invite them.
I invited the IndieStone. I invited the IndieStone.
I was getting cold feet, and I was asking Binky to take over for me. He said, "Well, they asked you. They didn't ask me."
Okay. Let me do this right now. You guys are formally invited to join us the next time we do this.
Do you know what? He'd have been so much better than me as well. I suck. Yeah. He's already done 2 interviews. He's already done 2 interviews. He's got more experience.
And you know what? He's going to be doing like 100 more. So you guys look forward to that. There's going to be 100 more interviews for all of you before this is over, I'm sure. Not with us. That would be really exhausting.
No, we want the exclusive. We're just going to start posting them all over the place, and we'll send them to Machinima and GameSpot and all that other fun stuff, and we'll just keep sending them information.
The voice of Lemmy. Okay, we had one more question on Twitter. I don't remember who said it, but I thought it was a good question. Are you going to implement any kind of mode that's similar to a campaign mode or a quest mode, or will there be quests in the sandbox where you have like right now there's quests in the tutorials? Will there be quests like you go in a certain building and it's like, okay, I have to do these things to get into this next room?
Oh, very much so, but in the sandbox they'll be randomly generated, and so I mean, we may sneak in a few things that are always the same, so people have stuff to find that they can talk about, but the idea is that we want to create archetypes of types of characters that you'll meet, and like you'll have the sort of thuggish guy and the sort of wimpy guy and the and the sarcastic woman and the happy woman. Do you know what I mean? All these different archetypes. So the snivelly guy that no one trusts, and all these any sort of archetype you can think of in a zombie apocalypse or outside of it, and then you have the script, the conversations between those types of people instead of specific characters. So effectively, we're going to try and construct. It'll never be as good as the narrative experience in terms of the actual the narrative, I guess, but hopefully it'll provide enough of a free-form narrative experience. No matter what direction you go in, you'll get to, and you'll get quests. You'll meet a random guy who will have a random quest and stuff, but we're going to try and tie it in a way that it feels like somewhat of a storyboard, whatever route you take. And I guess there'll have to be a little bit of player imagination to make it feel as good as the actual narrative mode. I'll have Will's excellent writing, doing all the dialogue and stuff, but obviously it's hard to keep a cohesive plot together when it's sandbox. But yeah, we're certainly going to have all the elements of the storyboard in the sandbox mode. It's just going to be more interspersed with the freeform gameplay.
Alright, awesome. Going back on that, I was wondering, is there any kind of, not achievements, that's the wrong word, but let's say you make it a week, or you make it a month, or you make it 6 months. Will there be changes in the game, such as all perishable foods being perished after a month? Or do they only perish once you actually initiate and pick them up?
Oh yeah, no, well that was certainly the perishable foods. They'll all age. So yeah, basically after a week, anything that's not in the fridge, that's not canned food, you can't use. So, but then we're going to have other changes as well. As when we get to the point, we're going to, after about a month or so, the power will go out because the local power station will get overrun. So then all of the benefits of having power in the city have just suddenly gone. Then you're going to have the army coming in to clean up operations, killing everyone that they see, and we're going to basically, the further we go ahead, we're going to try and give rewards in terms of gameplay, with the way that like game changes, like subtle changes that suddenly quite drastically change the way you have to play the game.
Referring
So
to oh sorry. Referring to and I'm being selfish now. I'm not even reading all the new Twitter questions. Will you have the ability to grow anything, such as getting a little tomato plant to put on a table that might produce a tomato once in a while that you have to water, or the ability to can perishable foods so they last longer? I mean, that's pretty technical, but that could be something someone would learn if they maxed out a certain skill trait.
I like that the canned food thing. I think we might have to use that. So you get some sort of brine, you get a load of brine, and craft brine plus can plus perishable food equals kind of non-perishable food. Yeah, well, that might be in the game now. It wasn't going to be before, but
Oh, I see that because if perishable foods all go in a week, that would give you something to rush at that first week to get all those items so that you could make certain recipes that you won't be able to make after that point.
Yeah. Pinky says a jar. Yeah, jar would be a better idea. Yeah.
Yeah, mason jar.
Excellent. But yeah, but yeah, the farming stuff, so what we've considered. It would be nice if you could get sort of a sustainable situation where you're self-sufficient, but then it's a balancing act because the game rests around the premise that this is how you died. So we don't want to let people survive for years without dying. You know, it's the game's working against you at every opportunity, just like a zombie film's working against you at every opportunity, against the characters at every opportunity. It's not going to give you an easy time of it. So if you manage to get a self-sufficient farm, then one of your numbers going to make a disastrous mistake and leave a gate open, or something's going to happen to mess your day up, basically. But yeah.
Well, that sort of jumps into like one of my personal questions I wanted to ask is, it's two different things actually. One, with the ability to do all these things, the zoning itself, because I know we have this current map. Is there going to be additional areas? Because I've done some map editing, and for anybody else that wants to go into map editing, if you make the map too large, it does have a problem sometimes with rendering everything. Is it going to be like a zoned area that we can move into other zones? With future content?
Yeah. Well, the map size that we've got currently for the actual demo is quite a carefully picked out size that's not up to the maximum, but big enough that it's a nice size map area. And then in the short term, we're going to have, or possibly forever, we're going to have where you walk to the edge and it'll load the next map section up and save the other map section. You know, so because like running on lower end PCs is a big focus for us, so we don't want to do anything that's going to exclude. I mean, it's obviously, I think the minimum spec's going to rise a bit during development. There's not really a lot we can do about that, but we're making massive efforts to keep it as low spec as possible. So it's a kind of a requirement that we don't have any official maps that are much bigger than the one we've got. But people will be able to create additional map sections, and then one day, when we've got the time to do so, we might look into streaming so that it'll stream them constantly as you're walking about to keep the memory size low, but still allow for no loading screens. But that's a very big if, because we haven't really looked into how feasible that would be in the long term. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be loading screens when the next few map sections come out, and they'll all be of that size.
Cool. Now the next thing
the final map. The final map won't be that much bigger than the current map, or it will be. I didn't quite understand.
Well, no, the final map will be much bigger, but it'll be made of lots of those maps. It'll be in the final game, assuming we never put streaming in, it'll be 100 of those maps that you walk between by walking to the edge of one map section and loading the next. Yeah, because
the game,
I mean, in the short term, that's the plan.
Was always referred to as Knox Country, so it was like always implied that there was multiple areas and that we were like just in a suburb of everything here right now. The next part of the question I wanted to ask though was with the game, with the sustainability. One, how long have you guys lasted? Two, how long is the average that you were hoping people would last in the game? And then 3, will there be an increasing factor to the game in difficulty, maybe an increase in zombies? I know the zombie AI might be a little bit too smart from what I read right now, but how would you guys increase the difficulty of the game other than what's going to be implemented in the future? Like, would there be an increase in zombies or more swarms added to the game as time progresses?
The thing is, at the moment, there's not a lot to do apart from run away from zombies. If you, for example, if you hold up in a house and there's no zombies after you, then you're pretty much fast forward in time and not doing a great deal. It's all very exciting running away from zombies, shooting zombies and stuff. And like when we released the tech demo, we didn't really anticipate that people would be playing it for hours and hours. And this is something that massively surprised us. Obviously, we're really excited with how people were competing to see how long they could survive, but we figured that would come later. So we so yeah, at the moment the zombies need to be intelligent enough to, like, in terms of pathfinding and seeing you through a window and being able to work out where the door is. They're probably a little bit smart at the moment, but because they need to be to keep things interesting, where later down the line when you've got other NPCs in the building, you're having arguments with them and you're fighting over food, and then someone gets sick and you've got to make a run for the hospital to get some antibiotics, and when you've got a lot more stuff to actually fill your time, then it'd be possible for us to draw it back, the zombies, a little bit and make them a little bit stupider, because we can rely on the player having to run out amongst them a lot more regularly, so it becomes less of an issue. Regarding how long we've probably survived a couple of months or something. We've seen someone on the forum survived a year, which amazed us, and they only died because they ran out of food on the map and they had nothing else to eat, so they starved to death. So yeah, we sort of anticipate for people to the amount that we want people to survive will go up as there's more stuff to do while they survive, I guess. So ideally now, like a month or so, or like a few weeks is probably sort of a more action-packed, because there's less of the survival NPC stuff in now than we want to in the future. So yeah, it's probably more action focused now than it will be, if that makes sense.
Right, no, I understand, because I always look at it as an anticipation of me dying. That's how I play the game. It's just a matter of time. So I wanted to see what the outlook was like. You guys had like a set time frame sort of to say, you know what, we want these guys to try to survive 7 weeks on average, and that's it. And then we're just going to keep increasing the difficulty. And if they're very good, a very good player, they're going to survive longer. But your average person is going to be able to try and try again. It's going to be a normal 7 weeks or whatever set time frame. And then as they get better and learn more things, they're going to be able to last longer.
Oh, certainly. I mean, well, for one thing, we're planning on having like the zombie numbers increase as they move out of the inner city and to the outer borders, and like through. So basically, we're going to add effectively zombie migration when we have multiple map sections. So, and even things like car alarms would bring in more zombies from neighbouring sections and things. So, and obviously the high population areas that migrate out into the area that you're probably in at the time, unless you're starting to hit. If you start in the inner city, then you start off and it's hard work from the get-go. But then later down the line, the zombies will start migrating from other nearby cities, and you know what I mean. So it is going to get more difficult long we go on, especially with dwindling food resources and more fighting between all the NPCs and stuff. So yeah, it will definitely get harder as you go.
Speaking of dying, I might just get eaten by a mob swarm here in a second.
Oh no! Real quick, related to Twitter, give you a break from talking for just a moment. I want to yell at you guys. The IndieStone official Twitter, which they made only a couple weeks ago, I think, is at 944 followers, up from, I think, about 830 when we started this. You guys, the link is right on the stream. I would like all of you to click it and follow. You know, they don't got nothing that you don't want to hear. Everything they tweet about is funny, good content, awesome stuff. And I'd really like it to hit 1,000 before we say bye to Lemmy.
Right, since we're about to wrap up, I'd like to add in, we will, Lemmy is so graciously offered to give away some copies of Project Zomboid, but we're going to do it in a little bit different format than what we normally do for a game giveaway. So what we want everybody to do is, if you go to the Twitter post for Project Zomboid, if you go to Twitter at, is it Lemmy101, if I'm correct? I have you followed him, I still don't remember.
I'll put it on the overlay.
Sorry, yeah, that's correct, yeah.
Okay, so at Lemmy101 or at QubeTubers Twitter post, what we want you guys to
They
do...
need to be at both.
Yeah, what we want you guys to do is put in there what your guys' zombie survival plan is. And we'll read through some of them, we'll pick out some of the bests, and then we'll figure out how many games we're going to give away when we get with Lemmy to see how many numbers we actually have here, and then we'll try to random.org all the people that we enjoy reading. It could be serious, it could be funny, it doesn't matter. Just post on what your zombie survival plan is. Blow up all those Twitters, and we'll get you some copies of Project Zomboid out.
Also, real quick to mention, you're more than welcome to make it in a Google Doc, take a screen cap, type it somewhere else, draw it in Photoshop, and link it in your Twitter. So you do have a short, a window span, but they're not going to do this right away. So you got a couple hours if you want to prepare a nice one up. And they've always got their forums too, and people are doing it all the time. So if you want to get on there and share your stories there as well, that would be awesome. We still have half an hour, as it turns out, though we could just continue with Project Zomboid, and Lemmy doesn't have to stay. Well, I should just say he does.
But, I mean, if this is such a brilliant interview, do you want to have a bit of time with Captain Binky?
Yes.
If he wants to come along, yeah,
no,
he can.
kind of.
Hang on. Well, it's not more or less come on because you'd have to go by headphones. But if like, not that I'm not chuffed to stay, but like he's yeah,
Is he staring at you right now?
He's done 2 radio shows and stuff, so he's all used to it and everything.
Don't mean to interrupt.
I've said it live on air now.
I wanted to make a quick announcement for those who joined Link Realms during the interview and during the Indie Weekend. A few of you lucky players will get an actual free claim stake, $10 worth of prize in the game, which gives you 20 credits and a claim stake for claiming your own realm in the game. Thanks.
Hell, you know what? I'm going down in the bathroom and grabbing the kitchen sink and getting that away, because we seem to be giving away everything but the kitchen sink, so I might as well include that as well. So I'll figure it out later and post to my Twitter. I'm going to give away my kitchen sink, just to be funny, because we giving away everything else to you guys. See how much we actually enjoy talking to you guys and having you guys here, so...
Not only that, we give away stuff every week for the last 10 months, so it's not like it's something new.
Excellent. So yeah, it's been nerve-wracking but brilliant. Like I've really enjoyed it. So like, thank you for having me and everything.
Alright, hopefully we can do something like this again, like maybe once a month, once every few months. The fans might not be this many, but get your guys together, us together, get a few people to promote it, like Paul and Welsh, get a couple hundred people together, and do little interviews about new content. And you can always pop those interviews up so that everyone else can listen to them, so you don't have to type them all out. But you gotta type them out too.
We'd always be up for that. Thank you. Yeah, it's all very exciting.
You sound like you're crying.
No, I'm not crying. I'm just it's like as I said, I was just very, very nervous before this.
How much have you drunk in total?
I only had 2 pints. I only had 2 pints.
I thought the count said you're up to 4.
No. I thought if I had 4, I wouldn't. I don't know what I'd have said, to be honest. So.
Well, next time you come on board, you will need to drink 4, and then the next time it'll be 8. so we can continue to
Excellent.
get more information out of you.
Alright, so since we're like closing up,
that sounds.
I'm gonna see how much time I actually lasted in the game during this whole interview. I've somehow survived this whole interview. So for an hour and a half, I've stayed alive.
Wow.
How many days was that?
I don't know. 5 days, 22 hours.
5
That
days,
was not so bad.
22 hours. No, so I've just given an interview that lasted 5 days, 22 hours, basically, is what you said.
Basically.
Oh yeah.
So now you can tell everybody this has been the longest interview probably ever. Just don't tell them under what perspective it actually is.
Well, it's flawed actually. It's like the lead up to it lasted about 1,000 hours, but once I read it, it sort of flowed by, sort of thing. So it's all good.
I'd like everyone that does have a Twitter to send Lemmy a thank you for coming to QTubers message at Lemmy101. Spam it so that he can't ever see any other important message he gets for the next few hours. And Lemmy is amazing at responding to his tweets, and let's make it harder for him to keep up with everyone.
So I'm feeling bad now again because I'm sort of getting, you know, it's like we've all gone in this together sort of thing, and now I'm going to be getting all these followers, and the other guys are going to be sort of.
Oh, we do this. We do this all the time. That's what we're here for. It's. I mean, without you guys, and I mean, under my personal appreciation, I mean, I love playing indie games, but this game has been like a godsend to me for zombie survival RPGs. There's been nothing close to it, and I've been searching for forever. The next step, and I mean, hopefully you guys, when you guys get the co-op, I only have to look for it. Basically, is a zombie survival MMO. And I know there's some major companies that are putting some stuff out, but it just doesn't fit the sandbox build that I love. So I appreciate everything you guys are doing by far, just to give a game that's just so enjoyable. Even though right now it's a tech demo, and I love it.
No, thank you. We've been amazed how people have responded to it, and like we didn't go into this thinking it was an original idea. It was the irony. We thought well, we're doing a zombie game, big surprise, you know. But I guess like the reason we started making it is because we didn't feel we had the zombie purist kind of game out there to play ourselves, and so obviously other people have kind of had the same feeling about it, and we didn't realise at the time. We thought it was when we were talking about it, it was a bit of a vanity project, you know, something we wanted to do because we didn't feel it existed, not because we thought it would be of that much interest to people. We thought the industry was so saturated with zombie games that, yeah. So we've been blown away by the response, really. So.
Are you watching the chat right now, Lemmy?
Sorry. Yes.
Okay. Everyone, I want you to make Lemmy feel so appreciated. I want you to spam him with how much you love him, how much you want to steal his beer, anything. Just spam him with anything you want to say.
I'm feeling my ego being stroked. Yeah, cool. Hooray! Yeah,
there we go.
It's a derp. I'm a derp apparently. Ooh. See all that love I saw the word derp. Wow. Yes.
How's that feel?
Yes.
See, look at that.
Ask him a question. Ask him a question, and you will get answers within 5 seconds. Any question you want. You get to spend a few minutes asking them questions.
If we can read it.
That's not that important.
Well, I don't know what to ask anyone. I don't know. Hello.
Ask them where they are, what their favorite. Ask
Can
them
you please also follow Captain Binky, Mash Potassium, NickandStein79, and at Bat Sphinx, please? There we go. There, I've completely vindicated myself from getting extra follows from this. I have advertised absolutely everything. There we go.
So basically, go to their website and you'll see the Twitter on the right-hand side for everybody. Just follow all of them, and make sure you
follow everyone if you follow me. Love you all. Thank you very much.
Alright, so I guess we're just
Are
about
you
wrapping
okay?
this up. Who do we have next so I can give them a preview? Because I have to go use the bathroom, so I
We are
can't
gonna
stay here.
have Precipice Gaming.
I had 2
which
pints
does-
before I came out. Did you need to use the bathroom?
I've drank basically a couple of liters of water since I've been sitting here.
Alright, well that makes explain it then. I've been leaking about 2 pints since we've been here.
Woo. We have Precipice Games coming on next. They're gonna be doing, okay, I don't actually know the title of the game, so don't hit me. That rocket game that you make rockets, what's it called? Space Academy, something like that?
Treble Space Program. If you haven't played that, it is an awesome game. If you have some time, Lemmy, you got to look that up. It's hilarious. Just like get everybody in the office to try it out, even if it's for like a couple of days. It's a I can't. I've streamed it. It's just hilarious. Just some of the stupid stuff you can make. You know, just building a rocket and trying
rocket
to send.
science is really rocket science. Remember that quote.
It's funny.
And they're also going to be playing a Minecraft multiplayer game called God Mode. That's going to be really intense, and I don't know anything about it, and it's apparently really intense with the modding and story or something. I don't know anything about it, so I can't say anything about it. We still have 20 minutes, technically. I still think Lemmy should ask the chat some questions, but he can't think of anything.
Okay,
I don't want to keep him here, too, if he wants to go. I mean...
I'm not going anywhere. Like, what's your favourite colour? I don't know. I don't know.
Ask him what your favorite color is.
2 on the spot.
Do it.
Yeah. What's your favourite colour?
You hold the power of the chat. It's just, well, how many people we got viewing right now?
440 are in chat.
Orange.
700 viewing.
People answer what the favourite colour is.
Ask
I
them
think
something
it's
related
perhaps
to
a wasted
zombies.
opportunity. I don't know. Binky, have you got any
What
questions?
would be their favorite
Nick,
way to
have you
kill
got any
zombies?
questions? It's all... oh, you've got me there. Binky. I need a question.
Well, he's trying to think of a question. Give him, oh, he does? Binky's got a question. I hear him in the background.
Nick wants to ask, what's the
Nick.
best kind of sandwich? Yeah.
Sandwiches. Red? We're still
It'll take
getting
him a
color
minute.
questions, yeah.
Yeah, we're behind by 10 to 15 seconds.
I do want to state, somebody did post something in chat that I do want to give a shout out for. I don't remember the name, but somebody said they were in the U.S. Air Force and wanted to thank you for putting out such an enjoyable game. I am a veteran of the U.S. Air Force, and to any of our military veterans that are watching or anybody that is currently enlisted or reserved, I do want to thank all you guys for what you guys do here in the U.S. And across the world for any military forces or cops or firefighters. We do appreciate and respect everything you guys do for us on an everyday basis.
Oh, definitely. That's good. That's definitely, yeah. Ditto. Yeah.
So if he's in the background, get him up here and let him make some love in the chat.
I'm gonna stick Binky on.
So we got some answers though about the sandwiches.
We've got all 3 of us in the room, so we could just switch around and get us all on for a bit. Like, if that's all right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Binky first, and then he's the one with a proper British English voice, because he's from down
Epic
south.
win.
Hang on. Bye bye.
I'm so excited.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
I didn't know you guys were all in the same little room.
Yeah, we got stuck in a little pokey little flat and all working out of this tiny little room.
Do you guys have an office, or are you living together?
Well, our flat is our office.
Ah.
Oh, so you're roomies.
Yeah. Well, we don't share the same bedroom. We all have Nick's sleeping on the sofa at the moment. We're keeping the costs right down.
Oh.
Everything. So we are moving into a 3-bedroom flat shortly, but yeah, at the moment there's just 2 bedrooms and Nick in the living room.
Yes.
Everyone go buy Project Zomboid so they can afford their 3-bedroom flat sooner.
So we can get Nick off the
Yeah,
sofa.
we've taken indie development. Yeah, it's taken indie development to the extreme.
Could be worse. You could be living out of a van.
Yeah. Well, that could be quite cool, actually.
Real quick, I noticed we're 15 users away from 1,000 on the official Indie Twitter. Let me pop that back up. Yeah, the link's still there, guys. No excuse. No excuses. Let's get it to 1,000. Even if you're going to unsub afterwards. It's mean to say. But it needs to be 1,000 before they leave so I can feel like I accomplished something.
If everyone immediately unsubscribes afterwards, we'll feel absolutely terrible.
I will hunt everybody down. That's it. There'll be brain panning everywhere. Personally from me. I will find all of yous. Even if I have to grab every phone book on the face of the planet.
Yeah, we're gonna write everybody down and check in a week.
Can you think of anything you want to ask your fans? Even just to ask for advice. Ask them, do you prefer a bat over a gun, or maybe something related to the game, and you'll get plenty of feedback.
Well, I mean, I guess, I mean, we're currently in the middle of putting all the professions and things in, so that would be a big thing, because really it's we've got about 6 in at the moment, and we can just keep on adding as we go through, so if people have preferences to which professions they'd rather see over other professions, that would be good to know. And
can you list off the current and some proposed ones? Are you really going to dedicate one to us? I'm sorry, no, I can't do that. That'd be awesome.
Well, we've got we've just gone for quite general ones to start with. So we've got things like a police officer, salesman, construction worker. What else did we have? Like a park ranger type guy. And we chose the professions to put in at the moment where they have traits that actually exist in the game. So we didn't want to put a profession in that didn't have any sort of effect coded. So as we add the new character traits, we'll then add the professions which take advantage of them. So basically, if people do have preferences for professions, then we can kind of, we literally want to have hundreds of these things in there eventually.
Oh wow!
Anything's feasible, and of course people can mod their own as well. So, but yeah, we're completely open to developing these things in any order, because we'll be doing everything eventually.
Will there be ages? Like, can you have an older person or a younger person, or are they all prime?
Well, the thing is it's there's limitations in how much you can do graphically, because you've got to have all these characters doing all their animations with all the frames of animation in all the costumes available, and it's kind of exponentially mounts up the amount of stuff to actually produce. So if you did males and females and all the zombie equivalents in all the costumes in all the animations, and then said we're going to have 2 different ages, then you've just doubled.
Oh wow!
All that work. So we're kind of like at the moment focusing on there is a generic man with different heads and different skin tones and as many costumes as we can do, and then there'll be an equivalent female character. And maybe in the future we could look into doing different body sizes or something. But the other consideration is the more of this stuff we put in there, the more work we make for modders. So that it becomes, if someone wanted to add their own jacket into the game, then they've suddenly got to do however many different body sizes of that, and then all the animations and all the directions. So we don't want to make too much work for modders, because we want to make it practical for them to sit down and say, I want to make a shirt, or I want to make a pair of shorts or something, and not give them just a ridiculous amount of work. So yeah, there's loads of considerations, but it's potentially in the future, potentially, yeah.
You guys are over 1,000 subscribers on your official YouTube, or YouTube, Twitter. Now hopefully they're going to stay there.
Well, I also stick Nick on before we all finish, just so he's got a chance to say hello as well.
Alright, you guys should take the time and try to go through all the ones on the IndieStone. Who answers the IndieStone? And go through and try to answer the questions that we weren't able to.
Well, Mash actually controls that account, but obviously we all talk all the time, so any question asked there will get to all of us. But if you want to know who literally types the buttons on the keyboard and press enter, it's Mash for that account.
I guess it's pretty easy when you can just look over your shoulder and yell it.
Yeah, but Mash has her own
Mash
Twitter account as well, so it's just she personally, like I say, if you want to know who literally types buttons, it's her. But like I say, the IndieStone account does reach all of us. Nick, do you want to say hello?
Nick.
Or, yeah, I'll just pass you over. Cheerio. Cheerio.
All right, Nick. I don't believe you should be sleeping on the couch. I believe you need to trade with somebody.
Hello.
He wasn't even on yet.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello, hello.
We were. She was trying to express her her ideas about how you shouldn't be sleeping on the couch and you should be switching beds with somebody, which I find a little odd, but.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't think I want to be doing that.
Better be a comfy couch. That's all I gotta say.
Not particularly. No.
Oh, you're
not
my
the
favorite
best.
now.
Not the best.
You're my favorite.
Aw,
I don't know anything about you really, but you're my favorite.
Oh look, she's taking
I am
sides.
the best one. Sorry.
Sorry.
I said now she's taking favorites. Now the rest of them are going to be mad at her.
I just wanted to check real quick, Lemmy. Not Lemmy. You're not Lemmy. You're Nick.
No, I'm Nick.
Do you want to ask any questions to the chat?
Yes, I've got a question for the chat. Why is everybody not following my Twitter yet? I've been checking.
I'll
you
put
guys
it on the overlay.
all in trouble. All in trouble.
That was quite shameless, wasn't it?
That's what we're all
Oh wait,
about.
no.
Shameless
Okay,
plugs.
it's at 7:23. It's at 7:23, and we're gonna make it hit 800 before you leave. So that 800 in 10 minutes. I think we can.
Everybody that joined
sounds like a challenge.
Everybody that joined the IndieStone Twitter should have joined everybody else's Twitter anyway. So what are you guys all doing? Get on the Twitters. It's not hard. Click the little follow button, and then you have all the funny posts that these guys post. Because I mean, there's been some good ones.
It's insane.
The one that stands out to me most, and I don't want to put Lemmy in the spotlight again, but his reply to that one user was just epic. About the whole we can't post anything ever again. Yes.
Okay. While I'm on, earlier on you asked about what new things are going to be in the update, and I've just remembered one that wasn't mentioned. But we've recently added stuff for being ill. So you can get ill by eating bad food, or you can catch a cold and that kind of thing. So as well as avoiding the zombies and everything, you've got to try and stay in good health. Otherwise, there's downsides to it. Like if you've got a cold, for instance, you'll sneeze every now and again. Actually, while we were talking about this, Mashed Potassium had the brilliant idea of adding boxes of handkerchiefs to the game. So if you weren't running around and you'd sneeze, the noise would attract zombies. But if you've got a box of handkerchiefs, it would deplete one handkerchief and mute the sneeze. So you'd have to keep stocked up on tissue paper if you had a cold and that kind of thing.
As long as we can use
761.
socks.
So we've gained
as well.
35 followers so far.
I suppose you could use a sock, yeah.
That's gross. Are you gonna be able to do laundry
They've been used
in the
for
game?
worse things.
Will doing laundry increase your depression? I have a question. If you get too depressed, will you just stop responding to the player and just die?
Eventually, yes.
Oh,
Actual depression is something that we're having to think about how to do that quite sensitively and quite accurately, because obviously a lot of people do suffer from depression, so we don't just want some kind of trite facsimile of depression in the game, which might actually seem quite offensive to many people. But we're certainly, right now, we've added in sort of boredom and happiness, and if you stay stuck around in a house for too long, you will get bored, which will eventually make you sad, and you will have to do things like listen to music or read books to kind of stave off boredom. Also, when there's like groups of you with NPCs, being in company with other people will help you not get bored and keep your morale up and that kind of thing.
All right, you got any more questions for him while you have this ripe audience ready for the picking?
I don't know. What? I don't know. What sort of new personality features would people like to see in the game? I mean, like I say, we've added things like happy, sad, tired, ill, all of these things. You know, what other kind of things would people like to see in?
I did see a question related to that will there be the need for the dirty needs? Will someone need to use the restroom and do things like that, or will that just be overlooked?
The way I see it, I think the need to use a toilet should be something that we do put in. You know, it's we have bathrooms in the game, we have toilets, you know, and at some point you probably will need to use them. You know, I mean, on the flip side of that as well, eventually there'll be dehydration, so you need to take in liquids. And as power supplies shut down, maintaining a supply of fresh, clean water will become difficult. You know, you might put pans in the garden to catch fresh rainwater, and that kind of thing.
Can there be a garden? Is there going to be any way to grow perishable food, or would that be too sustainable?
It's something that we do intend to do along the line. Yeah. Obviously, you talked with Lemmy earlier about foods and how obviously perishables will go off quickly, so you want to stock up on the canned stuff. I mean, another thing you'll be able to do down the line is, you know, you find a petrol powered generator, and then you can hook up the freezer in your house. The generator's going to make a lot of noise, but you'll be able to keep food cold.
Oh god, I'm so excited. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
So yeah, I mean, one of the skills, one of the sort of skills would be gardening and that kind of thing. So, you know, someone good at gardening would do a better job of turning his lawn into an allotment, for instance. You know, if he's got that kind of skill, he or she, sorry, then you know, you could eventually have tomatoes and potatoes and carrots and stuff growing in your garden.
Alright, real quick, guys. 25 more to go. 25 more to go.
I say we go for 1,000.
I don't think we can do it in our time frame. They got to take a little. They got to take some time. We'll probably give you guys another little pimp at the end of the event. Another little pimp at the end of the event. Come on, guys. We want 1,000. We're about to be kicked off. We got Precipice Games coming on. I'm playing some Minecraft and that rocket science game. I can't. Kurt Space Academy. What is it, Army?
The what?
Kerbal Space Academy.
Oh, Kerbal Space Program. Come on, you gotta play the game.
I'm trying. You know me. I want everyone in chat to take a moment to say goodbye to the entire indie development crew. The IndieStone is their developer group name, and they're gonna all say bye to you. You specifically. So they're literally gonna say every single one of your names. No, okay, I can't.
Excellent. All right. Well, if we have to go soon, then I'd like to say thank you very much for having me on and everyone else. So yeah, it's been great. And what I'll do now is I'll pass you back over to the other guys so they can say goodbye and thanks for everything.
Awesome.
Right. It's been great being on. Thank you very much and take it easy.
No, thank
Bye.
you. Yeah,
they were both more immediately confident than I was. No.
Oh, I have an announcement I have to make. Krigoth thinks our next charity event should be to raise money to get a bed for Nick.
Yeah, we've already got that in hand. It's probably only a month away until he finally has somewhere to sleep. It's not a sofa. And might I point out, the most horribly uncomfortable sofas on the planet. Right? So I'm not even kidding.
You got 2 minutes before you're going to be cut off.
Right, well, I'll say goodbye then. I'll say goodbye. Thank you very much for having us. It's been amazing. Thank you for everyone being nice and not not hating us in the game and everything. Thank you, love you, bye. Right.
And just to add one needless plug, ProjectZomboid.com, go for it now, and you'll find all their Twitters and their blogs. Subscribe.
I'm going to pop that up on the live stream again. Be sure to bookmark their website, guys, and check it. They update it all the time. Play the demo. It's awesome.
And we have our last goodbye here.
Oh, do I get the last word, do I? Hooray!
Yes.
well, cheers. Thanks very much. It's been great. It's been great watching Lemmy getting all nervous and everything. It was worth it just for that, if nothing else. But yeah, thanks very much.